All right, what's up? And welcome back to another episode of the Barcode Collective podcast. I have Chris and Eric Martinez. How do you guys describe yourself, man? You guys started in the fitness industry, in the brick and mortar world, kind of segued into the online space. Hybrid is a word that we throw around. Give me a quick little overview of how you guys, not to put you in a box or anything, but how do you guys identify as kind of what you guys do for work, who you guys are? Let's start there and let's jump right into it, man.
Absolutely. Well, Jacob, first and foremost, man, thanks so much for having us. I know that, we met it was probably like 6 months ago, all before like COVID hit, and, I'm grateful that we were able to like sit down and have a good conversation and, like just everything you're doing, man, like is amazing. And I remember you showed us like your whole shop and everything and all that stuff. So thanks for having us on the show. But to really kind of just give your audience a backstory of who we are, I'll take you guys through our story. So literally 18 years ago, we lost our father in a car accident. So he passed away, just behind the wheel. And we grew up in a really picture perfect family. Just, our father was our role model. He always just instilled discipline, education to always sit there and just try to go to the next level in life. And, like I said, it was just 3 days before Christmas and we were 17 years old. And literally, we got a knock on the door 3 days before Christmas at 3 a.m. from a California Highway Patrol officer and a chaplain. So not a good combination at that hour. And I literally thought I was in a nightmare and just, but it wasn't. It was the reality of it. I saw my mom on the floor just screaming bloody murder, and they had told her that he just fell asleep behind the wheel. So right then and there, in a blink of an eye, like our whole world was turned, our whole world was turned upside down. Yeah. 3 months after that, my mom lost her mom, due to cancer. So then after that, my mom just went downhill. She didn't know how to deal with all the grief. She wasn't expecting all that. So she turned to alcohol, antidepressant pills. So I feel like we just lost a big part of our mom, for a while. And then kind of Chris and I, went down a dark hole too, and our older brother as well too. We just really didn't know kind of how to handle that. We weren't expecting that. So, we got into a lot of trouble ourselves, which is like the law. We turned to alcohol, we were very angry, kids, and we had no guidance anymore. But luckily we still went through the motions of just going to college, and just that's what our father wanted us to do, is just, go to college, graduate. So we honored that. And then after that, what really just got us into fitness was just, the weight room was just taking out all our aggression and anger just on pumping iron pretty much. And seeing body compositional changes, how it stimulated our mindset, it kept us focused. And then after that, we just hired our first mentor at the age of 24, which was Dr. Lane Norton, big fitness pioneer for a long, long time. And he took us under his wing for 5 years with the mentorship, and we literally just learned so much from him, and then we went on to hire other fitness pioneers to learn their craft with online coaching. And then that's kind of when we put two and two together. Like Chris and I were like, you know what, we have so much knowledge, we can do this. Like we've learned all these just different things from all these coaches. So let's build our own business, which was Dynamic Duo Training, which we built that 10 years ago and scaled that to multiple six figures, around on years. And then 3 years ago, we just completely pivoted to B2B coaching for fitness professionals and, built our business Dynamic Fit Pros. And that's kind of where we're at now, just helping fit pros create more income, impact, influence, and independence with the hybrid model of in-person and online. But with COVID, it's tricky with the whole in-person thing too. But that's pretty much the backstory.
Yeah, man, that's heavy, dude. I mean, I couldn't imagine, I've been grateful to not have to experience too much death that's like very close to me, like as we get older, and obviously my parents get older too, like even at this stage, knowing that they've lived very full lives, like I can't imagine losing them. And that's something that has been interesting during COVID, because I had, they're all in Seattle. I'm the only one down here in California, and, I haven't been able to see my family, and I haven't been able to spend time with them. And knowing, and it's weird how you can fully know and embrace and understand that nothing is promised, that at any given moment, any one of us could be gone. And yet we still don't do the things that we need to have the relationships and the outreach that we need to, it's like we know this and we understand this, but yet the human psyche and the human condition is still to pretend that it's not, even though I fucking know, because you experienced it, I know, but yet I'm still not calling them every day. I'm still not reaching out to them. And I know that if I looked at it from a perspective of, all right, they are older, I'm in California. In a perfect world, they live another 15 years, but yet I'm only seeing them once a year. I got fucking 15 more visits with them. Maybe that's a 3-day trip. I got 45 days left with my parents, but
That's
yet that
crazy.
still isn't a fucking motivate. Like I'm in the fucking belly of the bitch over here, or the belly of the beast, and I'm head down trying to grind through it, and I distract myself from those realities of death, man. So, did you guys, at that young age, did you guys have any, thoughts of death or relationship with death, or was that like your first experience? And like, what was that like? I couldn't imagine, again, like you said, fucking losing your father overnight, just like that.
Yeah, it's a good question, man. We've never had like that thought of like death or anything like that. It didn't go that deep, but we did have those thoughts of just like kind of like what's the purpose of just like, what we're doing. And, you know, all the times that we got in trouble with the law, those are the ones that were real big wake up calls. Like what the hell are we doing? Our father worked too hard. He like instilled so much discipline and gave us a good life and busted his ass. Like, why are we like repaying him like this? And put our mom through even more stuff with our dumb like mistakes and decisions. So that was probably the biggest thing. It was just like waking up and just like smelling the coffee and just being like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Like this shouldn't be like this.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it sounds like, you still had to take some lumps and learn a few lessons before you started taking things serious and stuff. So you jumped into the fitness world, like you mentioned, as kind of an outlet to some of your aggression and just create a sense of clarity and focus. So what, so prior to say bringing on, a mentor of Lane Norton, what were you guys doing as far as operating your business, and what did that look like prior to bringing on a mentor?
Yeah, so like 2009, 2011, we were doing like in-person training, like at a small mom and pop's gym, and we did that for about a couple of years, and we just started figuring out, man, that business model of just full-time personal training was just like dreading, 60 hours a week, the split shifts, like it wasn't scalable going forward. So then after that, we scaled back like on just like the the independent gym like that, and we actually got day jobs. I worked as like a college like guidance counselor for like a year. Eric was working medical records at a hospital, and we did it because we just wanted more consistency with like the pay, and just like didn't want to sit there and work more than like 40 hours a week, but we still did like a little bit of side like training too. But then really, that idea came back up of like online training, because we're working with like our first mentor, and we're like, shoot, man, like there's two of us, like it's early in the game right now. Do we really like working with these college kids? Do you really like doing medical records? Probably not, right? Our heart is in fitness. We just took a step back from it. So that's when we took that leap of faith and started our business, Dynamic Duo Training. It was like November 2011. And then that was all online training till pretty much like late 2017. And then we just had that idea of like pivoting and helping like the business side of stuff, which was so hard, man, because we had that fear of failure, imposter syndrome, and like, who the hell are we to give business advice? So it was a long journey, but so it's been a long decade overall, man, with everything.
Yeah. So when you guys are doing the brick and mortar, like mom and pop stuff, I mean, was there ever a moment where you're like, fuck, man, I'm going to go in here and pretend like I'm just one person, and I'm going to tell these guys that, hey, like I'm willing to do 60 hours a week, split shifts, but in order for me to hold it down like that as your one and only personal trainer, I'm going to need, a bigger split on this. And then you guys would just fucking really just work, 5 hours a day. And then the other brother would come in, work the evening, and they would fucking never know. Never once.
Really. That never really crossed our mind. That's funny though. But like the guy that owned the gym, where he was so new as a business owner. Now that I think back at it, he just really didn't know what he was doing, just like operations and systems. And he was so lenient about like just like us paying him like $10 per client, and we got to use the whole facility. But what the tough part was too is us having to go find our own clients and market, and we had no clue really how to do that. It was all new to us. So I think just not understanding how much effort it takes to sit there and go hustle for your clients, it was like it was a big wake up call for us.
Yeah. So, well, was that some of the earliest lessons for you? Is like, okay, we're solid trainers, we can do all this, but like, what do we need to do to get clients? So, was that one of the biggest things that you recognized early on?
Yeah, absolutely, man. We started like just digging into some books on guerrilla marketing, because social media wasn't big at that time. So it was literally just like, referrals. It was like going and getting like flyers printed out. And like we literally went around like a 24-hour fitness there in that same city during the day and started like posting or putting them on their cars. like flyers that had like basically, hey, come train with us, forget like 24-hour fitness. So it was a hustle, just with all the guerrilla marketing and stuff, and, not being tech savvy and not having all the technology that everybody has at their disposal these days.
Yeah, which is cool though too, man. Because like those are little things that we teach our students now, like in our program. Is just like what's called hustling outside of social media. Don't always depend on like social media for your leads. I mean, there's plenty of business to go around within like a 5-mile radius, and go build relationships with like mom and pops owners, whether it's like hairdressers, it's like chiropractors, just anyone that has a local business. Start doing I got you scratch my back and I scratch your back, and just vice versa. It's a nice little funnel to have.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, because like everything else, something new comes in, be it social media and now social media marketing and influencer marketing and all this shit. The things end up just swinging way too far on that end of the spectrum, and it's like, again, this word hybrid just, I think, resonates because it needs to be a little bit of both. It needs to be some education that's going out on the social media. But when you are in a brick and mortar space and you're not training online and you have a place that you need people to go, that is, spending all your time and energy on social media is not going to get you the leads that you need to, because social media is so expansive and vast that, in order to dial in a hashtag, again, it just blows my mind. Yes, I stumble upon some people that use a hashtag Pasadena Fitness, for example, or Pasadena, because I'm a business owner and I'm looking for the people that are using that more from a networking standpoint. And we're like, okay, you're a trainer, you use Pasadena Fitness. All right, we have the Space Bar Wellness Center. I'm putting Pasadena, and I follow that. But from a client, gaining clients that are going to pay you money, who the fuck is going into a hashtag on Instagram and putting in Pasadena trainer or Pasadena? Maybe it happens, but in my mind, it just seems like such a long shot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's a great point too, man, what you said. So it's like, I love how I think we even talked about this when we were in person, how, you were just really just all about kind of like, building your network within that radius of like all the other business owners around like that whole spot, that really nice area in Pasadena that it was at. So it's like, it's smart. You have to think of it like that. It can't just all be online.
Yeah, and it's weird to even have those conversations because yes, like I am a big relationship person, but kind of what I've been experiencing lately is that, I mean, for one, I try not to take it personally because we are all living our lives and we're all trying to navigate this shit and we're just doing the best we can. So when some of my offers or, me trying to build this relationship don't go as far or go as deep as I would like them to, is frustrating, and again, people could be jaded from other relationships with other people in, from a B2B kind of networking perspective. But like me and I know my intentions. I know how genuine I am, that like, if I'm taking this time to kind of get to know you and see what your business is all about, I'm going to ride for you, and we're going to be rock solid there. But I've been really struggling on that front to get people to actually take some time to show some support. And again, it could be because they're just in the thick of it themselves. But I think if they peeked their head up out of the sand and the darkness and was like, God damn, maybe I can feel better if I had someone like Jacob to lean on, and just like giving a little bit of trust back to that and letting go just a little bit. And like the perfect example for me right now is, I have this this coaching platform. It's basically it could be a CRM, it can be accountability tool, it's an activity tracker. You can put all your clients there, you can run them through online programming, and it's all kind of under the umbrella of Barcode Coaching. So essentially, a name of a app, just like Trainerize or whatever the fuck it is, that any of these coaches could use to help, that could really help them, and having that conversation with you. I think people are thinking that I'm just trying to sell them some shit when it really isn't that. Like, this could really help you take a step into this hybrid model that you guys, know so well, and it's just like falling on deaf ears. So part of it, I'm sure I'm not talking about it the right way, or I'm not coming across in a way where they get a chance to really know who I'm at. I don't know what it is, but it's been frustrating as fuck lately.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like, it's just tricky how just things have shifted, like in the fitness industry with this, this pandemic, like before, we even wrote a book on this, like, to go and do the hybrid training model because you had two income streams and a lot of trainers don't want to give up the in-person experience. And I get it, but you don't want to be completely full-time doing it because again, it's a broken business model. So you had the best of both worlds, online training in person, but now it's just, with gyms being shut down and uncertainty and people are in like fear mode of going back to a gym, it looks like the tables might turn. And I don't know how you feel about this, but I think like the one-to-one PT might go up as like more of like a premium instead of a commodity, to where
Yeah.
trainers can actually charge more.
Yeah.
So if they have an independent gym and clients are still cool coming in and they're not really like tripping about all that stuff, then they can charge like a lot of money for in-person training because it's so scarce and rare now as opposed to before. And if they have the online game going on as well too, I mean, man, they could be making a really, really good living, going forward,
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think, I speak openly about, being in the industry now for 10 years and owning gyms and kind of seeing how this all took in shape. And, so that was what, 2010, 2011, where, there started to be this big shift from one-on-one training to small group to group training. The Orange Theory started blowing up, and, people, as marketers and as business owners and whatnot, people will make it seem like that was done for you as the client. Like, hey, this is better because now you can lower your cost and be a part of this and get personal training in a group, and not have to pay, $85 a session. So it's like spun in a way where it's all about a better offering for the customer, which, there is still some benefits of that. But it was the gym industry, and it was smart people in the gym industry that were like, all right, fuck that one-on-one training for an hour, getting this. Like, I'm going to start doing small groups and charge the same amount. And it's like about spreading out, and then getting more revenue per hour, basically. But then now as the world changes, that's not even possible. So now, like, even when we talked about this is like, okay, one-on-one's going to be coming back, I really believe that. Like, we're so quick to like spin it as like, hey, this is for the client. Like, hey, now you get this one-on-one, more in depth. We get to go deeper. But really, like you said too, he's like, it's really because we can charge more now because of the situation. Now it's more scarce. There is less time, and we can up that charge. But then if we didn't up that and we didn't do things to fit the current situation, we're going to find ourselves right back into early 2000s and 2010, where now you're just training 10 clients and they're taking up all your fucking time. So it's about being wise and really thinking about this hybrid model. And now we have the benefit of technology in order to do that. And you can still deliver online coaching now with huge amounts of accountability and contact and connection with people if you're using the right tools, software, apps, or whatever it is. And that, I think, goes even with your one-on-one clients. So we all know that, like, even if you have somebody that's investing fucking 4 or 5 hours a week with you as a training client, I mean, that's rare that they're going to be putting up that kind of money to train with you 5 days a week. There's so much time outside of those 5 hours a week that they're spending with their family, eating, doing whatever the hell they're doing, that you should have some sort of accountability tool and software to stay in touch with even those high touch point clients that you have in person, so that you can message in, you can send little reminders, motivation in the morning, whatever it is. So whether or not you're going fully online or you're just getting back to the in-person training, I highly suggest trying to seek out some software that's going to help you do your job even better,
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on this point, Jacob, because this is like one of the biggest reasons why like fit pros are having like trouble going online, because they don't understand like how to even like price and create their packages, and we're always telling our students like you have to charge off value, not time anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's like what you just said, have accessibility to the coach through whether it's like phones, it's like WhatsApp, it's like whatever social media platform, they should sit there and have full access to you to ask questions and feel like that you're right next to them. So, accessibility is really key, and that's where we say, stack your value ladder, create a value ladder when you're proposing something to a potential clients, like stack that, what are the things that you're adding as value just to put them over the edge to where it's like a no brainer for them to invest in you. So yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah, I literally had a conversation with somebody yesterday about this, that is looking to launch some online programs. And, the first kind of thing was that he was thinking that the program itself needs to change. Nah, the actual program doesn't change. It's their accessibility to you. And, and you can't give that all away because you need to still because otherwise, you need to still make this business work for you. So in this offering of your availability, if you don't have these tools, you're going to just be constantly at the disposal of them, and you need the checks and balances. Again, what even if you're just using, say you're giving them your cell phone number and they have Messenger and you can message them back and forth, setting boundaries around, hey, yeah, feel free to text me anytime. These are going to be my response times daily or even weekly or whatever it is, so that you're not just at the mercy of this person, this client, every single waking moment. And yes, there's tools and there's software and there's apps that would better house that, because it's not coming dinging you on your typical text message on whether or not, your fucking girlfriend needs a ride or whatever. Like you're separating your business from your personal life by having people housed in a particular thing. So what are some of the, like, as far as like you guys teaching how do people kind of go online and helping these fit pros, what are some of the like first action items that you have them do?
Yeah, that's a great point what you're saying too, just about like the boundaries, man. So it's like what we teach in our program is called SOPs, right? So standard operating procedures. And it's like, it's basic stuff like that. It's like checklists, it's like systems, to set those boundaries, right? And make it more efficient to a business. Another thing that we were really heavy on is like delegation too. Too many fit pros and even like personal trainers, they work in the business instead of like above the business. And that's where they get caught of not being able to scale, not being able to like restructure their prices, packages, work on marketing. That's another thing, Jacob, I would say is like anybody that's looking into getting the online game, you better reframe your mindset to become a fitness marketer first and a coach second. And a lot of people don't like hearing that, but it's the reality, because nobody's just going to come find you when you first get started. You got to put in those reps and sets like you do in the gym. You got to put those reps in the sets of getting yourself out there, building the brand, building the authority, building the reputation. So it starts with first that mindset shift that you're a marketer, and you got to basically go out there and start priming your social media platforms. And I would recommend starting with Facebook and Instagram, because there's billions of people on there and your clients are probably on, Facebook and Instagram. So prime your profiles, and, you got to start getting some content out there. And I recommend getting your story out there, because it's the most powerful asset that you have, by just being vulnerable and telling people like what your story is. Why'd you get into fitness? What was this transformation or epiphany that you had in life? And then from there, you just have to start plugging away all the other stuff that really brings out the business and scales it.
Yeah. And I think another thing to add to that is just like, really dial in your messaging, right? How do you really dominate your niche? How do you discover who your target market is, your avatar? How do you sit there and voice what your specialty is, what differentiates you, your methods, systems? So all that's really important. I see a lot of fit pros always make the mistake of that. So like, let's say you had like two fit pros, right? A and B. And let's say fit pro A had like, a bio, or he was always talking about like in his stuff, just about, oh, I'm a fitness professional that helps, people build muscle and lose weight. Okay. Then you have Fit Pro B that's just more dialed into like a unique selling proposition as to, I help, moms just out of pregnancy, look better, feel better, perform better, or I help them lose 10 pounds with my, 12-week transformation program, something that's really specific, right? Like a promise deadline as well too. And most of the time that trainer B, that has that specific message and it's dialed into his avatar niche is going to win all day long.
Yeah. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, but even with dialing in this particular avatar, that is largely for the intents of just getting clear on your messaging and your marketing. That doesn't necessarily mean you turn away the 22-year-old kid who's looking to fucking get jacked. No, you just, it allows you to, get clear on your messaging, your content, and focus some of your content basically. And I struggle with that a lot, because with our businesses, I overcompensate for a lot of shit. And like when I see people like just going hard on keto, me being a fit fucking pro that knows that that's absolute bullshit, I want to compensate and be like, no, the fucking opportunities are endless, but there's no way to market that outside of our opportunities are endless. This is going to be slow, steady habit change over a span of year. Like you're never going to get clients that way, So like I need to really kind of dial in who I'm speaking to for the sake of the content. But I think also just be open. So like that's a tough thing for me, but
yeah, exactly, man. Because like, that's the thing, like in-person training, like chances are it's going to be really hard to like be like, okay, I'm going to work with this specific person, unless you're like only working with like athletes or something like that. So it's like almost you have to take whoever's going to come in person, right? But online, that's what's the beauty of it, is you can dial in the messaging and the targeting and speak those pain points and put that content on social media that where people are going to come find you because you're speaking their language and their pain points, you know. But when you're starting off in the online game, you know, I just want your listeners to understand that you have to have that mindset to where it's like you almost have to take on anybody, right? Because you're just getting started, and what you're banking on is social proof, and then, you know, proof of concept. If like your training, your methods and all that stuff work, and then you're able to put that social proof out there, then start fine tuning like your messaging and dial in on your niche, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and I think something that would also be very valuable. So, like, again, where we are right now, we're in COVID. A lot of in LA County, all gyms are still closed. So there's so many trainers that were in person that have been displaced that are really thinking about going online. And I think there is a huge opportunity to reach out to other small businesses, other corporate accounts, and use this on. Like, online doesn't mean that you got to be living in LA and training somebody in fucking Albany, New York. You know, it can mean that you train, you know, you have access to employees of a particular business that is 10 minutes from you, but you have online programming and tools to bring the 50 employees through a program online, you know. So it's like the programming, not necessarily the location. I think people get that confused. So, you know, for example, with me and the Fit Bar and the Space Bar, on the flip side of that, had to let go a lot of the coaches that we had at the Space Bar that were going to be leading the health and wellness charge on our accountability coaching and whatnot, because of needing to cut payroll and needing to survive. So you, on the other side, being a health and wellness coach, getting displaced from your job, like finding a business like myself, and where, hey, like I'm trying to get and offer programs online, but yet I can't carry the burden of having these employees come and connect with me. Again, I'll bring it back to the app. I'll give you all sorts of value to work with me as far as giving access to our customer base, our client base, our Instagram following, and help promote you as a health and wellness coach to just further our message. You know, first we'd have to identify that that's aligned, but to further our message and help our Fit Bar customers make healthier choices. And that's a way that you can come and expand your reach as you're figuring out how the fuck you're going to get customers, that there's businesses that need your services, that need to find extensions of what they're doing. Because like me, I'm here head down grinding, and I can't take on any clients. But are they knocking on the door and they asking? Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. And that's why too, that's another thing too. We said, like, we had this conversation, like, in one of our group calls with our personal trainers on Tuesday. And we were just saying, you know, try an 80-20 hybrid model, right? Which means like 80% of the time it's going to be remote. And then the other 20% is going to be just like in person, whether that's maybe seeing somebody 1 time per week, 2 times per week. And it could be just like out of your home, out of your garage, like it could be at a park, whatever works, you know, but try different models with that. I mean, there's no set rules on this. And I think that's what people forget is, like, you know, it's like entrepreneurism is like, there's no rules, you know, it's like, it's a wide open playing field.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. So I love that idea of, you know, because that's always been my kind of vision of it, is like trying to continue to stay in the pocket and stay top of mind with, you know, Fit Bar customers. You know, these are just people that are coming in for a smoothie or whatnot, but I know that they want to make change in their life. So like, how the hell do I extend offerings beyond just the smoothie and stay in touch with them? And that's why we've developed this app, and we have this app. So we have it available, but it's like now trying to figure out the systems behind it to actually be more than just a check-in from me, be like, oh, hey, how are things going? You know, you guys staying active or whatever. Like, I want to really offer programs to that. And that's my limiting factor right now, is not having the coaches available to actually have that time available to coach them, you know? So yeah, man, like so many of us are facing new challenges and getting creative, but you know, that's part of the fun. That's part of the process, man. And to shake things up, you guys just made a move down to Texas. Is that right?
Chris is wearing the Cowboys star right here, man. He's a Niners fan. I don't know what's going on here.
We joined this gym called Cowboys Fit. They gave you a shirt, so I was like, okay, I'll rock it. But you know, I shouldn't have wore it on video.
Yeah, man. You're just trying to fit in right now, huh? Trying to get your grounding.
That's another way to look at it.
So you guys were living over here in Santa Monica for a bit, then I think you guys kind of went back home, and now you're over in Texas. What was the reason for the move?
Yeah, I just think honestly, like this whole pandemic, you know, like we were doing it what everybody else like was kind of doing, just waiting it out, thinking it was going to be some short-term thing. But after like, like 3 months, that was kind of like the mark. We're just like, let's get the hell out of here. This is bullshit. Like nothing's going to really change going forward. And then we just started seeing everything that was going on in California with just like what the governor's doing, like decision wise, and like the regulations and the taxes potentially going up. And it's like, we're already like, I think the second or third highest, like, state tax, and for business owners, I mean, that's not good. And on top of living somewhere where it's not cheap to live in Los Angeles, you know what I mean? That lifestyle. So it's a constant grind, so also too, like the amount of real estate that you get out there for what you pay for like rent, it's kind of a joke. So we just started like, exploring other options. And, we've been out here to Texas before last year, and we came to Dallas and Austin, but, Austin had too much of those vibes like California. So we're like, let's just do something new, just totally out of like our element to like really pursue that growth. So we chose here in Dallas, and, Frisco is one of those areas where it's like really up and coming, a lot of development, a lot of businesses, a lot of entrepreneurs. So that's really what shaked it up, man, was just like really tired of what was going on there in California, tired of like working out of the apartment, just we needed more space and more bang for our buck.
Yeah, and my situation was a little bit different when the pandemic hit, because he was living with his fiance in Burbank and I was over in North Hollywood, just in a studio. And luckily, my lease was up right around mid or end of April, so it was like perfect timing. Like I was like, I'm not going to stay here, continue to pay like $1,700 for this, and then like have no access to anything, no proximity. So I just went back to my mom's place over in Northern California, so Sonoma County. So she has a much bigger home. She had like a little garage gym that we had built years ago, and I was good there. It was probably the best decision I made, because I got a lot of clarity as well too, and just was able to have peace of mind with just like, leaving Los Angeles, and just kind of just coming to peace that, I did everything that I wanted to do there, and there was no regrets. Like it was part of the journey, and I loved every moment of it. And there was highs, there was lows. We met some amazing people. We did some amazing things out there, and it was just time to turn the page in the book, for a new chapter. And that's what I always try telling people is like, you are the narrator of your own story. You're the author of your own book. So it's like, don't worry about it. You've written so many chapters year by years, and it's like, it's okay to sit there and, flip the script and do something outside of the box.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And I mean, it takes courage, like courage is kind of a very reoccurring theme, here at the Barcode Collective. And, the code within Barcode represents the courage to optimize and develop your essence. So, sometimes that courage is showing up and going to do a fucking job that you don't want to do every single day because you have a family to provide for. But courage also means recognizing that you're going to a job every single fucking day that you absolutely hate. And if you just made a decision in that moment to do something different, things can be greatly improved, So like courage is just everything, it comes back to having courage, and it's not easy to make a change, I think it's awesome that you guys have each other and can kind of go down there and do that, but that doesn't take away from the decision that you're making a huge change, and you don't know necessarily what's going to come of it. Since you guys are now in this new environment, has business changed at all for you guys? Do you guys have any new ideas about maybe establishing something there locally? What's been the thoughts there?
Yeah. I mean, man, if like an opportunity like that kind of like, presented itself, I mean, I'd love to do something like to be around the community more and stuff like that. Cause everything we do is pretty much remote right now. But right now, like one of the big things was to get a big place out here and have a media room, and then have a studio to do the podcast and really take the podcast to the next level. So that's one thing I'm super excited about, man, is just like turning this room into just like, a whole entire studio, enhancing the video quality, the sound quality, and just doubling down on the podcast, because we really like doing that. So that's probably like the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to out here.
Yeah, and even too, like what we thought too is like one of our mentors, like Ty Lopez, always said, he's like one of the best things of like having like a big home somewhere is like you can use it like you turn it into a business, right? So now here, we can invite people over for like like a 5 to 10 group of like mastermind with like fit pros or whatever, because we have the space to do it, and we couldn't do that back in like Los Angeles. So there's definitely lots of opportunities. It's just kind of about just like putting it all like on a whiteboard, seeing if it makes sense, and just seeing what's going to happen these next 2 months in this crazy year of 2020.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems kind of like you've definitely stayed in a certain lane, over these past years. Have there been any ideas that you guys really ran with, thought were going to be great, that just maybe deviated from, the straight and narrow? And what were some of those examples, if so?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah, that's a
question,
good
man.
question.
We've always kind of like these last 10 years just really stayed like congruent with like something within fitness, right? So we really haven't branched out to anything else, but I'll tell you what, this is actually a good little point. Maybe 2 years ago, like, we've been in several masterminds. So one of our big visions is always to have our own mastermind. Now, it doesn't have to be necessarily for fitness professionals because at some point I want to branch out of like just helping just fitness professionals and serving more entrepreneurs, because I know Chris and I have that talent, we have the experience, everything. So we tried to pitch like a mastermind. It was back in LA. We wanted to do like a 2-day retreat, like at some big old mansion over like in like Hollywood Hills or something. But man, like all the signs, like just it didn't align, and like we just didn't get like a lot of traction from it, and I just don't think we went hard enough with it. There was like some sort of fear,
Yeah.
and it's hard to explain, but it's like it just kind of went to shit. But that's the only kind of thing I can think of because that's always been something I want to do, and it's like definitely a plan going into like next year.
Yeah. So, you guys, I mean, to me, like I got brothers that are very close to me, Andrew and Daniel, and, we were partnered on everything. So I got a little piece of what you guys got going on, but I've always thought about, man, like if I had a fucking twin brother, you know what I mean? At least with me, if even one of my brothers are down here with me, like just, man, be crushing it. So do you guys bring different strengths and characteristics to your guys' partnership? And, how do you guys differentiate kind of roles there?
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I was going to say, imagine having a twin.
Yeah, for real. Which I mean, it would be I mean, if my twin had the exact same characteristics as me, I'd fucking probably be driving a lot of people crazy, and I'd have a lot of shit shows going on right now trying to survive COVID. There'd be a lot of businesses. So, are either one of you more detail oriented? Either one of you more of the visionary or the dreamer? Because both, I think a lot of times the dreamer or the visionary it gets prompt up, but fuck no, man. Without that detailed person to focus things, that vision or that dream is absolutely worth shit. And I'm the dreamer.
Say that I'm more type A, man. So where it's just like, sometimes I don't think too much like about things. I want to just take action right away and just pull the trigger and do stuff. Which, it's a blessing and a curse too. But Eric, which balances this out, is like he's more lenient and he just like really steps back and thinks about things like, hey, like maybe we shouldn't like rush this. Maybe we should like do X, Y, Z, and that's the balance right there. Because if there's two of us like that, I mean, it'd be a shit show. If there's two of us like where Eric is a little bit like relax and, just step back and wait. I don't think that'd be good too. So it's a good balance.
Yeah. And what really helps us though, Jacob, is like, just communication. Even though we're brothers, man, we butt heads and, we get upset at each other. We get over it quick, but we have our Monday meetings every single, Monday at like 10 a.m. And we just lay it all out for 1 to 2 hours, set the tone for the week, and just really know kind of like what needs to get done to move the needle forward in the business. And, like what does he need to do? What do I need to do? What do we need to delegate to our, assistants? And that's worked well, so I just think communication is always going to work, really well in a partnership. And yeah, we have differences and everything, but I mean, we're still family at the end of the day. And it's like, we're twins. It's a unique relationship, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's just spend a little time on delegating because, I mean, I think as you expand into an online business, people think that it's easier or it's less work. But in reality, there's a lot of fucking moving parts that take a lot of time, be it creating a PDF of a actual fitness program. Like, I don't know if you've ever jumped on Canva to try to create something. Like, it's not easy. Like, unless that's your shit, it takes a long time. So being able to delegate and reach out to people for help is crucial. So you mentioned assistants. How do those relationships work? How did you find some? I mean, you're obviously remote. So what does that relationship look like? And what do they do for you?
Luckily we have two really good assistants, man, to help us out with like all those small little tasks. We call them the low income, low impact tasks, because as you, the business owner, want to work on the high income, high impact tasks, right? So things like making a thumbnail image, making an image on Canva, those are kind of considered the low income, low impact tasks, right? You can hire somebody on Fiverr or even a virtual assistant to do that at a $5 an hour task, right? Where you should be doing the higher tasks, So it all starts with just like making a list of like you, the business owner, what do you do every single day, like almost every hour for like a couple of weeks? I know it'll be tedious, but after that, you'll thank me for this exercise and you'll see you'll highlight. What are those high impact tasks? What are those low impact tasks? And then from there, you start just thinking about, how do I delegate this? How do I systematize this? How do I make a checklist? How do I make a whole process of this to where it saves me time and I can do more of the stuff that I'm really good at?
Yeah, but it's taken us a while though to find like those A players. Like, I mean, I kid you not. Like, we've gone through a lot of virtual assistants where, whew, you're like, damn, man. Like, I don't know if this is ever going to work out, but thank God we kept going through them and just like, I think we got hooked up from like a couple other colleagues from masterminds too. Which were good ones, and that's definitely a perk. But yeah, just, I always tell people, just be patient, but just trust that process to, delegate. It's going to help you just going forward. And another example, I had a Fit Pro like on the call yesterday, and he's like telling us that, he barely figured out Google Forms. He said it took him 2 hours. I'm just like, damn, man, like 2 hours to figure out Google Forms. Like, that could have been so much other things you could have been focusing on.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And that, that definitely hits home and resonates, because, where we are right now, all of the businesses that I have are, brick and mortar businesses. And, thank God, the gyms are reopened and they're starting to go, at least up in Seattle where our gyms are. And, my brother's holding it down up there. We're starting to get a little bit of revenue back there. But at the end of the day, like, so much revenue was stopped. So now what this creates is like this there's not the cash flow that was there, right? And you're trying to piece it all together. So, where we are right now, at least in my world, again, not having, say, my brothers around to help me with some of these things, I'm doing so many of the fucking just the shit that needs to get done. If it's like, say, running to a store because we ran out of blueberries and we need blueberries, I'm gonna run and go grab that for the Fit Bar. And it's just, as the person that just gets up and grinds and does what needs to be done, you can really fall into that trap of thinking that that's necessary and discrediting the things that you're ultimately really good at, because you're just telling yourself that this isn't the time and the place right now. But really, what I should be doing, and some of this is just kind of my own insecurities of wanting to feel valued, is that I need to be literally sitting at a coffee shop and having a coffee and reading a book. But like, when you tell that to somebody, any one of, say, even my brothers or our partners or Bless or anybody, they're going to maybe look at that and be like, man, you ain't doing shit. Like, fucking jump in there, take an hour of payroll off of payroll and work an hour at the Fit Bar or the Space Bar, because that seems like the immediate pain point. But my unique ability is to fucking sit. I need space. And what looks like I'm not working is what has largely created a lot of this shit. Like, the Space Bar came from those moments of sitting there, having a cup of coffee, or sitting at a gym, or being at a gym or at a sauna studio, and like, what if, and then boom, 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 you put these things into place. And it's like, I'm so deep into just doing the mundane and, holding down even 20 hours worth of shifts at the Fit Bar and then doing these things, or Space Bar, wherever, that it's like, I'm so fucking deep into that shit. And it's just hard to get out of it.
Yeah. And I appreciate you sharing that, man, because that's awesome that you shared that. And it's just, again, that's what a lot of everybody as an entrepreneur needs, like, time to create space, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You have to. It's just too much of a grind of a game that's going to beat you down day by day, week by week, month by month, to where you have to have that space created. And that's what Chris said earlier. That's why we're trying to teach our Fit Pros, don't get so consumed with working in the business, work on top of the business, outside of the business, have those creative moments. And how do I get to the next level? How do I sit there and create this, expand the business?
Yeah. But it's also, like you said though, Jacob, like, you're there, like, reading a book in a coffee shop, man. That's one thing a lot of Fit Pros don't do, is they don't consume enough, and they need to carve out that time in their schedule, their day, whether it's in the morning, midday, and consume books, consume audiobooks, podcasts, because that's what's going to get those creative juices going. That's what's going to get those ideas, like, of content creation that they can go put around, like, their avatar, their niche, stuff like that,
Yeah, it's so hard, man, because I know it, but then you find yourself in the situation, and it's like, I'm trying to stay as true to it. I'm trying to detach myself from the money of things right now, because where we are right now, it's like, I put in $4,000 in order to cover payroll at Space Bar, these past couple of days. And how do you unpack that? Do I work 60 hours and 80 hours and now I don't have to put in 4K? I have to put in 2K because I absorbed that other? Or do I spend that money in order for a glimmer of you time? Even if it's not like I was just, okay, now I'm covering payroll over here for this because there's not enough revenue to cover overhead. and I'm just on the beach. No, I'm still working, but it's just like, what's going to work? What's going to hurt less right now? And it's just like, if it's fucking a challenge for sure.
Yeah, definitely,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hence why we need to start really fucking thinking about these damn programs, man. And if you're a health and wellness coach that's out there, especially in the LA area that is struggling a little bit, just because I haven't gotten my actual program out, I'm the guy that puts together all the ideas on how to do the program. I got something that would very much help you in launching programs, and I would really benefit from help from any health and wellness coaches out there that are struggling. So if you guys are watching this, definitely give me a shout and let's have a conversation, see if we can help each other. But what is it that you guys are currently working on in this moment that is consuming most of your time?
Yeah, I would say, man, it's just going back to the drawing board of making our program even better. So we have like 2 levels, a level 1 program and a level 2 program. And it's just literally going back to like all the training modules, like, the customer journey and experience with it, like make it into like a year-long program. And there's like 4 phases of like 90 days in there. Like, how do we implement more like maybe a strategy call of 1-to-1 every quarter? How do we get better at these group calls that we have? How do we bring on more experts? So it's just enhancing these programs and making them better, because I'm not going to lie, like we did take a hit with this whole COVID thing, but I feel the pulse right now. And I feel like things are going to make another wave and shift back, because people are right now 2 months away. They're like, fuck, man, either I did something during this whole pandemic or I'm still in the same situation. And no matter what, with the election or the whole virus, like my life is going to be the same if I don't take action and do something to make a change. So I really do think that there's going to be a shift in these next couple of months. And so we're just preparing for 2021, to be honest.
Yeah. And we're just also too, is just really focusing on like affiliates, like, just building affiliates for our programs, and just, it's been great, man. Just doing that. Obviously that's more of like a longer term play, but again, we're in this for the long haul and just planting seeds and making sure we're, doing this with people that, we feel have the same values as us, and, it's a good fit. But affiliate marketing is huge, just going forward. And yeah, I would just say other than that, just really trying to just get focused and establish here in Texas and just see what the rest of the year brings here, because just, it's been a hell of a month and just hell of a year.
And then trying to find Eric a girlfriend out here in Texas.
Good luck with that.
I'm good right now.
With the whole affiliate marketing, like what does that look like? What are you guys looking for in affiliates, just in case anybody's listening that would maybe want to help spread the word?
Yeah. I mean, so it's like a whole like other side of the business that we focus on, to where it's like, we want people that see the value that we have in our programs, and maybe they have like the fitness professional traffic or audience, or maybe they have fitness professionals asking them, hey, how do you build like an online business? And our programs are there to be able to refer to, or, if they refer us, we can, compensate them. So we're just looking for people that align like that, and want to partner up like that going forward, because I mean, it's a huge market, with affiliate marketing, going forward.
Yeah. And something else we've been just doing too, Jacob, is like Chris said, like just, seeing if there's like a good fit. They have the traffic that we want. Then like we do kind of like all the marketing, like promo for them for like 7 days, and they drive their traffic to like a free 30-minute masterclass, like through Zoom, a webinar, to where we'll do a free teaching, give some value on how to go online, and then pitch our program, which is like $1,000 program. And to me, that's not even a big investment, for like an entry point to really have all these resources and learn how to go online and do it the right way. So that's something we're just, toying around with too. But I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities with affiliate marketing.
Yeah. When you guys mentioned about tweaking your program a little bit, about making it a little bit longer term and have these different modules or these, 90-day snapshots, why do you feel like that's important? I mean, because at the end of the day, right, like whether you're training an individual in the gym, or you're doing B2B, or you're helping other fit pros elevate their business, results are everything, right? So were you finding that there wasn't enough checkpoints in order to kind of hold some of these guys accountable? Because that's something I fear a lot of times. It's stepping into the online space, is making sure these guys are going to do the work that's necessary to get it done, because I hold so much responsibility for people that I don't think I could carry that weight of their lack of action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I would say, man, it's like, since this whole like COVID thing, we used to do pretty much VIP days in Los Angeles at a co-working office. So people would fly down for 6 hours, and we would spend 6 hours with them and do a VIP day and break apart their business, and they leave with their business plan. And after that, we would do like 8 weeks of like weekly accountability coaching calls. But we quickly figured out that that wasn't scalable either, for us. And we were doing ourselves a disservice because we couldn't help more people at the highest level that way. So we pivoted to like a group coaching style model. And what we found is just, it's not enough accountability, and that's our fault, so we want to be better coaches and, put a better program together to where it's like they get an initial strategy call and they know exactly what they're doing for 90 days. And then every single quarter, for 4 quarters, they meet with us for an hour or two, and then it's all just 100% one-on-one, and we figure out what the next game plan is for them. So I think that's going to be a big game changer. But it's little things like that, just fine-tuning, tweaking, listening to what these fit pros need and want, and just like paying attention.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways, I think, from our conversation, is that just because you're going from in-person to online, the principles that you had as running your in-person business still hold true. There still needs to be accountability, and you're literally not just putting together a PDF, launching a program, hey guys, buy my workout, and you're thinking that that's going to be anything, because they're not going to get results. And then ultimately, they're either going to come back to you, and this would be you'd be super lucky that this was the case. They're going to come back to you and be like, okay, maybe this program that Joe Schmo gave me wasn't the right one. Let me buy another one from Joe Schmo. That's not very likely. Maybe that's the case. Most likely they're going to go on to the next online IG trainer and buy their program. So the point is, like, you wouldn't bring on a client for 12 in-person sessions and not be present there, you know what I mean, or not check in on them on their progress. So when you're launching these programs, even if the point is to do a high volume sell of a PDF, why the fuck not elevate your game just a little bit and figure out a system and where you can just automate a message that goes out on every Friday, knowing that they're following your program, or should be like, hey man, how'd the program go? It doesn't need to be you. Set that up automated, man, and just see if they bite that message. And if they have an actual question, you can respond to it and like just crush the competition for everybody else out there that's doing some bullshit PDFs.
Yeah. And that's something that, again, I agree with that, because that's something we always tell our students is like people are buying coaches, not coaching. They're buying you. They want to learn from you for a reason. So it's like, just give a really good experience to these clients, and it's like, there's so many different things you could do with it. It's like, it's your business. It's your set rules and systems, but definitely, man, I mean, you have to show up, accountability is like the number one thing that people are paying for.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I mean, I think anybody listening, man, that whether it's Chris, Eric, myself, like, I think we have a lot of ideas that could help you in your business. And if you're frustrated, like I'm frustrated, like I'm reaching out to people, I'm having these conversations with you guys due to frustrations that I, just little breakthroughs that I haven't been able to just fucking do, whether it's just little internal dialogue that I got or whatever it is. Like, we all need to have these conversations. I'm grateful for having this podcast and having a network of fellas like you, and where I can jump on here and stoke the fire a little bit to give me ideas. And we all need that. So if you're listening, know that we're all very accessible. Hit me up directly, go and download the Barcode Coaching app and use Jacob as the invite ID, and boom, I'm right there, available in your fucking pocket. Holler at me. And as far as you guys, like, where can people find you? Is it Instagram, email?
Yeah. First and foremost, man, thanks so much for having us. I really appreciate too, you being vulnerable. And again, man, that's why we have our platform too, is just bring on great people, man, and learn from other people. And it's like, we're all struggling at some point. We all need outside eyes, right? We all need kind of just like a pick me up. So I appreciate it, man. This whole conversation got me fired up as well too. But yeah, the listeners can find us on Instagram at Chris and Eric Martinez. If you want to learn more about kind of what we do, dynamicfitpros.com, and then just check out our podcast, Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. And yeah, those are the 3 main places.
Cool. Do you ever get low-key pissed that's not Eric and Chris Martinez?
we had that conversation to keep it consistent, but I'm like, whatever. He's a minute older.
I'm just saying, man, I don't want you guys, have a fallout when you guys turn 50, because like midlife crisis is real. So I want you guys to have that conversation now. All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate it. I won't take any more of your time, man. It's been great seeing you guys. Hope all is well down in Texas. Be safe down there. And, I wish you guys the best, and I look forward to staying in touch with you guys. Give me a shout if you guys need anything.
Absolutely, man.
Likewise, Jacob. Thank you,
all
man.
Right, fellas. Have a good day. Later.
All right. Later, man.
Peace.